Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So we are getting our rust bucket snowplow finished up. So we're getting this wrapped up. Time is running short, so I got to get it done. So I decided to make this into two videos. It was originally just running way too long. I mean, I'd have been like well into the 2 hours if I didn't cut, delete, all that good stuff. Anyways, giving you kind of the bits and pieces, but it's still running long, so I decided to split it in two just so I didn't bore you to death with it. To see how we got this to look the way we did. So other than that, I'm no expert at this. I'm not the master at this. I am a novelist at this. I'm just at baby steps. Just like I said, I did rail cars back in the day, but man, it's been some time. If you want to go see the master at this, go to Mars's channel. Check out his weathering techniques. He does really awesome at it. Mars is the one that has he's sponsoring the group build. This was his baby. So go check that out. And like I say, he's got some really cool stuff going on over there. Other than that, checking things out if you have not yet, so go down to Hobby Nut Model's website and check that out. Hobby Nut Model does support the channel, and Mark had sent this kit over to build on the channel, so that we are doing. So this Mobius truck model did come from Hobby Nut Models. So like I say, there will be a link in the description for both Mars's channel and for Hobby Nut Models. So check that stuff out. Moving along, went to Michael's this weekend. Not the big HL because it was a Sunday, so they're closed. Yeah, so I picked up some. I'm trying to get away from those oil paints. You know what I mean? They work great. I like how they work out, but man, they just don't dry fast enough for me. I'm just, like I say, time's an issue for me right now. We're running out of time. So I went and picked up some acrylic, Winsor and Newton. Yes, Winsor and Newton. I picked up some other acrylics, and I tell you what, I picked up some raw sienna, some burnt umber, and some burnt sienna. So I got these bad boys here. If I turn them around, it'll probably be handier. Either way, you can see both sides of it. So I think these three together, I think, are the perfect rust colors. You know, these two here are the really cool colors, but you add this guy, then the party started. So I think those work really well for what I've experienced over the years. And I mean, I do like the Vallejo set, but you know what? For bang for the buck, I mean, you could probably do 50 models of this stuff, maybe more. I mean, it's just, you saw in the video earlier than the previous video, it doesn't take much to do it. So, okay guys, other than that, let's go over to the bench and let's just get this finished up. Well, actually, it is already finished, but we're going to show you the steps on how we got there. So, other than that, let's go take a look. Okay, guys, so we broke out some more of the oil paints. Got my raw sienna back out and my burnt umber, and started doing my dip with the sponge. So I took the raw sienna first and kind of went along, and I was making better progress this way, and I like the looks of this. I mean, it's like I said, it's probably not the best option, but that frame that I did a while back, that actually is dried pretty good. It's still a little like greasy to the, I shouldn't say greasy, it's a little bit like weird to the touch, almost like powdery feeling. It don't wipe off on your hand or like smear off or nothing, but it's not, it don't have the feel like paint, but it is oil paint. So we're just gonna give it just a light hit. I'm not going too crazy on the frame because we're gonna think that the guy had taken care of it a little bit, like so. And I'm not even gonna bother with a different sponge. Just gonna go right top with this guy and just let it kind of mesh together. So like that. A little heavy in the back. I'm gonna put this on kind of heavy because I want it that darker rust color. But it's nice that raw sienna, it works good because if you have a dark undertone, it's easy to transfer the color, you know, to make it a little darker. Something like that. Let's give that a nasty look. A little nasty look going on the finger. It's alright. Okay, like that. We're going to leave it like that, let that dry out for a bit. And we'll go from there. So that looks pretty cool. I want this rough looking because it's been on the ground, shuffling around, sliding all over the place. So now the top bracket, I'm going to rust it kind of decent from here down. The top I'm going to leave black. I'm just going to leave it kind of clean looking. We'll do a little bit on the edging. That's about it. So like I say, we're going to start with this guy here. Like I say, we'll go about mid part of the bracket and we'll stop. We're not going to go as heavy on this. We'll leave the nasty part down to the bottom. We'll do just a little bit up here, not a lot. I want just the edging of the lights. Nice thing I like about the oil too, it doesn't dry like whoop, okay, we're dry. Now what? Just that spot, you know, where it's rubbed a little bit. That's it. I don't want to go too crazy, but just enough to get a little character. Now we'll go back with this. So the body is next. We are going to get that going here right after we get done with this. I might just leave that like that. I think we'll just leave it like that. Call it good. Because I don't want to get too carried away with it. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, we're going to leave that like that. So that's it for the weathering part for right now. So I'm going to weather these. I'm going to do this off camera like I did the shocks on the truck. And we'll go from there. So once I get this all done, I'm going to flip this around, get this weathered, and then we're going to take and spray everything with the wash, and then we're going to assemble it. So those are ready to be painted with the airbrush, with the wash. And so now we're going to do is the front of the blade. So we're going to start with our Vallejo German black, and I'm going to do kind of like I did the other side. We're going to do along the edges. I'm debating on what to do with the cut bar here. If I want to black that out, put some shine on it to look like it's been polished from using it. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking on that one. I'll put a little bit down here in the corner. Makes a nice thing about it being it's rusty. There's no, right or wrong with it. And I'm putting a little wave in it just because. So we got this mark here. So we're going to just paint that right in. Paint it right down to the bottom. And we'll go back to the side. Like so. Get a little bit of character. And we'll do the other side, same thing. And we'll do the top corners. We'll use a little bit on the back side here. Just as if it, was rubbed against something. Now I'm going to do my stains in here, or my little pivots. Little divots I got. Actually, I'm going to go in here first, because this has an edge right here. I'll make her thick at the top, like so. And we'll leave it at that. Something like that. We'll go around the bolts. Alright, now we'll get the transformation with some different color. We'll kind of make it look like the back. I need to paint the top first here along the top. Actually, we'll do kind of some spot all the way across there. A little bug right there. Paint you. There we go. Let's make it a run for it. I was leaving the bug trail. Alright, we'll go with that. Alright guys, so we're going to do the rust streaking in front. So it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Like I say, it's been a bit since I've done this stuff.
So the best way to do that streaking, for what I remember, is you put a blotch of this on there, kind of like I did here, but with the oil. And then you take another brush and then you swipe it down. There, little spot there, little dot there. We'll do a little bit across the top and then we'll pull it down with a brush. All right, we'll try that. Now we're going to use this brush here, this type of brush, and we'll see how this works. So now we should be able to just take and just drag this down, because now it's a dry brush. Yeah, that works better. You can see you make that kind of just fade away. Make sure you don't want too much on there. A little spot like that. Yeah, that was the trick. You gotta put it on there first, then wipe it down. That was the way it's supposed to do it. Looks pretty cool. And then we did some up here. So now we can just kind of drag that down. So you gotta be careful that, see, my brush is getting pretty loaded up. You want to be careful you don't get too much on there. That'll look alright. Okay, now we're going to take some of our wash and we're going to give this kind of just an overcoat. And now I'm going to take and hit this with a little bit of silver on the bottom. Alright guys, so back at the paint booth, we're using our Vallejo wash. And we're getting this sprayed down, front and back. And when I was painting this, I guess I didn't realize, it started to wash on me a little bit. Probably because the oils, which kind of worked in my favor. So if you see as I spray it, you see how it's kind of fish-eyed on me. So it's worked out really good. I just took a brush and just kind of fanned it out. I think that worked really good. Give it a pretty good effect. So I just went through and brushed all this out. Did the same with the back. At first I was like, well, what do I do with it? Do I let it go? Do I wipe it off, redo it? No, this will work really good. So we get that wrapped up. And then we move on to the hydraulic cylinders. Shot the big one and the small one, and take her back over to the bench. Okay guys, so we got the shocks painted up. So we got the Molotol on here, so I did my Molotol on the tape like before, and I did the blade. So I did a little bit on the bottom, and basically just on the bottom here on the cut bar, just where, you know, like it would have been pushing up and it just polished the end of that off. So I did that. I'm debating if I should paint the rest of that like a black or darker color. That may happen yet. Not sure. But I like the way that turned out. I guess I wasn't thinking, because it's water based and I had the oil on there. It just kind of just spread like fish-eyed, and I thought, you know what, that's perfect. So I took the Q-tip, and while it's still wet, I just wiped it down on this side while I used a brush on this one. But the effect worked actually really good, I think. So I think that looks pretty good. Like I said, I didn't want to overdo it, but that's where I'm going to leave it at. So I'll let that Molotol dry. Same here, did the Molotol on the end of my little hydraulic pieces here. So we're going to get it together. And at this point, I'm going to take some the Molotol with a paintbrush, and I'm going to paint inside here. Because these are going to get headlights. So give that lens something to look at. So I just put it over top of that black paint. It's just, you're not even going to see the lens. We'll do the same in here, and this will get amber. But obviously not until it dries. Once that dries a little bit, we'll put some clear orange in there, and that should look pretty good. So then that, I'll get this cleaned up, and we'll move on to our next process. So at this point, I could probably put my shocks on here, all that good stuff, and start slowly assembling. I'm probably going to leave this off until I get this done. That'll just be easier to work with it this way versus, you know, assembled. So we're going to hold off on this just for a minute. We'll get rid of this again, and we'll get cleaned up, and we'll come back. Alright guys, so set this in the dehydrator for a bit. So we put our Tamiya Clear Orange, our LP53, in on top of the Molotow. So I'm going to get ready to put the lenses in. So before I do that, I like to take a Sharpie and go around the edges here. I think that really dresses it up, and it gives it kind of that, looks like it's got a seal around it. So I find this works really well. Nothing crazy, just cover it. And it paints really well on there. So we'll get a couple edges done here. This Sharpie is getting to be old news too, so it's about time to retire this one. You can see it covers pretty good. And once I get to a certain point, I'll just stick this on here so we can let it dry a little bit. Just go through and finish it up. Yes, Sharpie, you're failing me. There we go. I think the end's about done. The tip is about junk on it. It's one of those I bought I don't know, like a 3 or 4 pack or something like that, and it's time to break out a new one. So there, so we just covered it like that. It gives it that nice little like seal on there. So we're gonna let that dry just for a little bit. I did that one already. And we're gonna take some of the canopy glue, and we're gonna just put just a little bit in the corners and let that set, and we'll call her good from there. So I'm using the evergreen canopy adhesive. I like this pretty good. It works pretty good. I mean, other than that, I use the Mod Podge, the clear. I do find this is stronger than Mod Podge, but I do notice this is a little thicker. So if you do get a little bit, say if you're doing a windshield and you get a little bit on the edge of the windshield, you will see this. You'll see that little like clear line, where Mod Podge, I don't recognize, I don't see it as much. So I think that's better in that point, but this is more durable. I actually got a little bit of elasticity to it, so it'll take a little more beating basically. So this has been sitting in the Susie Bake oven, so this is pretty cured out. So we're going to leave that like that. I can see this is still wet some, but I'm not too worried about getting too far with it tonight. We're going to leave it sit maybe overnight and go from there. So other than that, I think that's going to look pretty cool sitting together. Pretty gnarly looking. Other than that, I'm going to get these lenses put in quick. So I can just take this guy, flip it over. So just going to pull a dab on there. A little hit here. That's going to go like so. Like that. I'll get the long one in there. Same with the long one. I want that to be in the outside. Like so. So I got them bad boys like that. So I got my pieces out here so I can put my line on. So we're going to leave that sit for the night. And we get these lenses put in. Just kind of do a little test run, see how these are going to look. Oh, yeah, those look good in there. They come out here like that. Yep. Oh, it comes out real good. Very nice, very nice. Okay, I take Mr. Toothpick. Don't need a lot. Nice thing if I go all the way around, if it does have a little bit of bleed around, it'll look even. so. Take our tweezers. There's a top and bottom of this, so you gotta pay attention to that. Just set that guy in place. So we'll let that glue dry, and she should be nice and clear. Nice and clear for the morning. Go from that. See a little bit oozed out the top, so we'll wipe that up. Okay guys, so we're gonna get this here routed on. Got it in my little handy hands here. So I mocked this up and I set this together. This snaps in really nice. So the springs just snapped in the hole. The spacer bar here, this snapped in real nice. And that's looking pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is just put a touch of CA in the bottom there. Hold it all in place. And other than that, I mean, it stays pretty nice on its own right there, but I'll put some glue on it. I think that's looking pretty cool. So we're going to put our lift pump in. So being I'm putting the blade down, I had to put the short piston in there. So this is going to sit like so. Let's make sure it's going to sit good before I put the glue in there. So that's going to determine the height of your blade. Once we get that in there, and then we put this guy in, and that sets the level. Like so. It's pretty cool looking. So that ram is going to go up inside that piece there. Like I say, mine's going to be down, so it should go right against that cylinder. Like so. So I'm just going to take a little bit of CA and just touch the back side of that. Just hold that all in place. And we'll let that dry for a bit. I'm going to put a little CA and then a toothpick. That way I'm not sticking the big old fat bottle neck in there and trying to go that route. Okay, that should be it for that part. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this here. And we're going to let that set for a minute. A few spots here. Like so. Oops, I get nothing on that. Okay. Okay guys, we're getting this closely wrapped up. So that's where we're at so far. I think that's looking pretty cool. So I can't glue this together until I get it mounted on the truck. That way it sets your level. To put the chain on, they give you this really cool chain. So I'm also going to rust this chain up. I do notice I'm going to have to open these links up a little bit because that pin's just a little too thick. So I'm going to do is just put those sideways and just take some tweezers and just give it a squeeze, and or pliers, whatever I might have to use. Just open those links up so I can attach it to that lift tab there. The hoses will be kind of flopping around because this here will be separate. I'm not going to actually install the hoses on both sides, just on one side. That way when I go to install the truck onto the truck, I can run the hoses down to here. I might put them on. I mean, it probably won't hurt, so maybe I'll put them on, and if I had to, I can probably just take them off later on. Either way, it won't matter. So I'm going to use this easy, this elasticity. This is just a Hobby Lobby stuff. So we're going to just take a little chunk here, cut it off. I probably would have been better off leaving the hole instead of putting this piece on here. That way I could have just stuck this piece into the just into the hole, because now I got to try to glue it onto like say this piece here and let it cure, and once that's dry, and then bring it around to here. Same with this piece down the other side. So I'm going to wrap it around the back of the frame. I think for pictures I've seen, I think they go around the other way, but for this here, we're just going to do it this way. Okay guys, so there we have it. Got some hydraulic hoses on it. So we got it wrapped up. Like I say, I can't finish putting the chain on it until I get the it mounted on the truck. So yeah, it didn't turn out too bad. I still might paint that bar on the bottom a little bit. I'm not sure yet. I'll let her set for a bit. So she needs to dry up a little bit more anyways. So the headlights turned out pretty cool. And this does not want to focus for some reason. So yes, there's Mr. Rusty Blade. Yes, sir. So I did mine on the angle to the left. And I'm going to put it in the down position so once it cures out. But yeah, so there we have it. That's my Rusty Blade. Yeah, I see I got a little hair on that glue spot right there. I used super glue on that and I touched it with a Q-tip and they're like, come on! You know, and the thing just stuck to it. I'm like, ah, that's great. We'll fix that. But anyways, there we have it. So there's our blade for the rust bucket build for our truck. And I think that'll look pretty sweet on there once we get this assembled. And like I say, we can get that chain put on there and I'm going to rust that chain out and make it look pretty cool. Other than that, guys, appreciate you tuning in and checking out the channel. And we will see you guys on the next build. Thanks for watching.